Welcome. We are a mother-daughter podcast about all things surrogacy. Together, we have brought 8 beautiful babies into this world, and we would like to share through education and knowledge about surrogacy with those who want to educate themselves on the topic. This is Stop.Sit.Surrogate. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of Ashleigh's surrogate story. Okay, so then how quickly... So did she come to you in 3 months?
We talked about it, and we all kind of just decided, like, let's pause. We're good. You know, I wanted some time to spend with my family to, heal. They were in the thick of the newbornness. And so we were all just kind of like, we'll wait. Yeah. We all know that we're matched already and everything's going to be fine. So when everybody's ready, we're good to go. And I'm so glad we took that time, because I think 2 back-to-back pregnancies was really hard on my body. The doctors did say that, like, the placental issue I had was probably a viral related infection, probably why we had some decreased fetal movement when we did. And probably what saved baby is that we knew that that's what was happening, because my placenta probably would not have lasted much longer.
Right. Wow. If it just literally fell apart inside of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some divine intervention there. I don't know what you believe in, but that's some intervention.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the brother. That's the little baby boy, number 1. That's him.
And it's funny you say that, because before I got my epidural, we went in at 11 o'clock at night. He wasn't born until almost midnight the next day. And before I did my epidural the next day, I was like, I want to eat. I want to take a shower, and then I'm good to go. And in that shower, I am very much a believer that people who pass are still around us. And so I said that baby's name, and I said, please make sure your brother is okay. Please make sure your parents are okay. And let's get your brother here safely. And that's what happened. And so
it is.
I totally agree that he made sure his little brother was okay.
Yes, he did, doing his big brother duties.
Yep,
exactly.
Which made his mama okay.
Yeah.
Which made his mama okay. 100% okay from way back when that all happened. Like, mama was okay too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so when do you start this third journey?
So I gave it about a year before I even reapplied. Okay. And I had said to them, I just want to get my portion out of the way so that we have no holdups when it's time to go. So they said, that's fine. We let the surrogacy agency know we were going to be doing a sibling journey, so they weren't necessarily moving us to the matching stage. I did all of my background checks, my psych eval, got the records all set. And that was in late 2023. So yeah, it was about a year. And then we kind of just were like, let's just hold off. Like, both of my kids have winter birthdays. So I was like, let's get through those. Yeah. Then it was my birthday, and I was like, let's get through that, because, like, who knows what my birthday will look like next year. I'd like be able to enjoy this one. Because I had been pregnant for, like, pretty much the previous 2. Aww. And so then we did medical screening in June of 2024 and transferred July 25th of last year.
Wow.
Just about a year ago, you transferred.
Just about, almost exactly a year ago. Yeah.
Well, from when we're recording, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry. From when we're recording. I'm so sorry. Okay. The magic of television or video, whatever.
Right.
Okay. Television. Yes, television. Yes. Dreams, Ellen, dreams.
Wow.
And so that took.
Yeah. And so they obviously created another embryo, right? Because they only had one. Okay.
They only had one. So the way that the insurance coverage works for IVF in Massachusetts when you're using a surrogate is that when you transfer your last embryo, you can start the process to do another retrieval. So she and I were on IVF meds at the same time because I was preparing for transferring in my first trimester while she was doing the medication for egg retrieval. And I think they said they've done 5 rounds of IVF. They had 2 embryos. And they were incredibly lucky to get what they were able to get. And thankfully,
Wow.
they both turned into beautiful, healthy little boys. Um,
Wow.
but she was also ready to keep going if she needed to, even
Okay.
though it's a very hard process on
It
her
is.
body.
Yes.
It's a hard process on everyone's body, but
Mhm.
especially with everything she's been through, it was really difficult.
Oh,
And
Yes.
so they already had that embryo created and frozen, ready to go for when we were
Yay.
ready. Partially because she wanted to make sure that egg was as young as it could be
Okay.
for hopefully better outcomes,
Got it.
which worked.
amazing. Wow. And
Yeah.
how did that pregnancy go? Uh-oh, we're laughing.
Well, we like to joke that this little boy was fought for from the start. Um, so again, they had to move their embryo.
Okay.
Um, when they did so, the embryologist had already gone home for the day. And so the embryo was left on the front desk of the IVF clinic for a while. I'm
What?
not exactly sure how long, but the
How about
embryo was,
this?
I believe, flown from Boston to Connecticut. I don't think it was driven, and then delivered and just left on the desk. Thankfully,
Like,
embryo storage is wonderful, and he was perfectly safe to be there for
okay.
even longer than he was.
Okay.
But we kind of joke like this kid has just already had a journey.
Yeah.
Um, we even had a little bit of a battle with transfer dates because, like I said earlier, we were very clear that like we wanted everything to stay the same,
Hmm.
Mm.
and the clinic was pushing back on transfer days. So we had transferred, I believe it was like day 24 the first time. They were trying to push us to day 30.
Well, that's a big difference. 23 or
That's a big
25,
difference.
that's
Yeah.
workable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we were very much like, obviously a day or two we understand if it's like it would have fallen on a Friday and
Right.
the office wasn't open, or it was going to be a Saturday, something like that. That's understandable, but also no one could give us a reason
Mm.
as to why um it was being toyed with. We finally won.
Yeah.
um and the doctor was like,
Just not
fine,
doubt.
whatever. And we both kind of had a moment of vindication where we're like, ha, it worked.
Good.
um
Awesome.
because he was like, well, this is our protocol, so I can't be held responsible if it doesn't work. And
Okay.
yeah,
Whatever. Okay.
That's
so
hilarious.
thankfully it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first few weeks of that pregnancy were great. They
Okay.
were easy. I think I started feeling like some morning sickness around week 8 or so. Um, and then things get weird.
Uh,
Um, so they didn't test any of their embryos before
Uh-oh.
we transferred. So they didn't know about any genetic stuff. They didn't know the sex of the baby or anything.
okay.
So we were going to do the NIPT test. Um, I couldn't wait because I just wanted to know. And they were also like, that's fine. So
Hmm.
I went and bought one of those sneak peek tests that they sell
Oh.
online or like at Walgreens or something. And I did the home collection, sent it away, and it came back inconclusive. It's supposed to be effective starting at week like 9, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay,
Ooh.
this is strange. So
Yeah.
we go in at week 10 for the official NIPT test. That also comes back inconclusive.
Ooh.
Not enough fetal DNA for either the fetal sex or any of the genetic things they were
Really?
testing for.
Hmm.
So the doctor said, we're going to wait 2 weeks. We'll try again.
Okay.
Should have some sort of result by then.
Okay.
And we're not thinking anything other than we want to know if it's a boy or a girl.
Ah.
The mom was very convinced it was a girl,
Ah.
to the point where she had her named.
Oh,
Wow.
And like
Wow.
they already knew like everything that was going to happen should it have been a girl.
So funny.
Well, we do the test at week 12. It comes back, of course, on a Sunday morning.
Hmm.
And I had promised them I wouldn't open the results without them. So I get the notification that the results are in, and I FaceTime them, and we open them, and we see a big positive for trisomy 13 at the top. And
No.
all I had anticipated seeing was
Boy or
consistent
girl.
with male, consistent with
Yeah.
female, everything else fine.
Oh,
We all just kind of, our faces all fell. And I didn't know enough about the genetic conditions to really know what that meant. Um, so of course we all start Googling because that's what everybody does.
Yeah, that's also
And
not great.
it's not great.
go down
And
rabbit
Dr.
holes.
Google
Yeah.
is terrible.
It's the
Yes.
worst.
Trisomy 13, from what we were learning, is not one that is always compatible with life.
Right.
So these poor parents were going through potentially yet again another loss.
Right.
We called the hospital, paged the doctors, paged genetic counselors, to which no one had really reviewed the results because, as we know in this country, we have a right to our medical records. Oftentimes we get results before doctors get results.
Yeah.
And this is one of those instances where we really wish that they had the results first so they could have said to us, yes, there is a positive. However, the positive like percentage was so low that like it probably wasn't real. At that point, we'd already had our 12-week ultrasound and everything looked great.
Yeah.
So we had no indications that this baby had any sort of genetic abnormalities. And so we had said, what are next steps? And then next steps with that is an amniocentesis, which I never had before. I'd never been that level of high risk. And at this point, I'm 13 weeks pregnant. And I said, how soon can we do it? 16 weeks.
Okay.
We're all sitting there for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
On pins and needles. Yeah. It
Yep.
was the longest 3 weeks of any of our lives at that point. We did not know what was going to happen. So we go in 16 weeks, 3 days. We do this amnio. Even the doctor's like, this is a textbook amnio. Everything looks great so far. They did an early anatomy scan. And they were like, he looks fine. Like, we're not seeing anything we would normally see with a trisomy 13 pregnancy, but we'll wait for the amnio to come back. So I go home with instructions to just take it easy. I don't have to be on bed rest, but no bending, no lifting, just kind of rest. It was about 10:30 that night. I woke up leaking amniotic fluid. And
Christ.
Yeah. And I lost it. I completely freaked out, immediately got into my car, drove to the hospital, calling my intended parents. It is the one time I've ever not been able to reach them.
Oh no.
I don't know why, but like, and they even had my number on emergency bypass. So like it should have been ringing very loudly. And for some reason I couldn't get through. The OB that was on for that night, first was just like, I'm sure it's fine. Like, it's probably nothing. They do the test. It's positive for amniotic fluid. At which point they sat me down and said, I've never seen a 16-week rupture turn out okay. So,
thank you.
Right?
Dear God.
It's now after midnight. And I'm like, what does that mean? And, he had said, you need to go home and prepare for the worst. We could keep you overnight if you want, but there's really nothing more we're going to do than just monitor. Most likely within the next week, you will go into labor. And I don't remember walking out of the hospital. I don't remember driving home.
Yeah, shocked.
I don't even know how I got home safely. And then the next morning, when they finally woke up, saw that I had called probably about 9 times in the course of an hour.
Whoa.
She didn't even call me back before she was in her car on the way to my house.
Yeah.
And she just knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
And we were able to get squeezed into MFM calendar. Literally, she was like, I'm picking you up. We're going right to the hospital. The doctor who did the amnio checked. My fluid was low, but it wasn't dangerously low. So, then we go into a room. Of course, we hear the heartbeat and we're both in tears. Like, thank God he's okay. Yeah. We're all right for right now. And we kind of from there made a plan of I went on almost complete bed rest.
Yeah.
which is not really indicated most of the time.
Right.
But the doctor's hope was that with bed rest, hopefully in a week or two, the rupture would seal itself, amniotic fluid would replace itself. We would go on to have a very normal pregnancy from there on out, with more monitoring, of course, but that didn't happen. I was on bed rest at home for 6 weeks.
Okay.
I could not take care of my kids.
Oh.
I was only, of course, I was sleeping downstairs. My shower was upstairs. I was only like allowed to shower like twice a week because going up and down the stairs was considered dangerous. Was using a shower chair when I was able to shower because they wanted me to limit the time on my feet. My intended mom and my mother-in-law basically were at my house whenever my husband wasn't there so that I was never alone.
Wow.
And I'm so thankful for both of them because my biggest concern was obviously the baby, but then it was also my children and making sure that their lives weren't any more disrupted than they were going to be.
Wow.
We were doing ultrasounds at first twice a week, then we were able to kind of stretch them to once a week, which was really hard. We were both very anxious, but we were able to kind of get to that point until we hit 22 weeks. And finally, our doctor said, we're going to need to admit you to the hospital. You've hit viability. We need you in the hospital in case you deliver.
Oh my gosh. So potentially be there until you're like 37, 38 weeks, but you have babies at home.
The goal was 34.
That's still
Anything
12
over,
weeks.
It's 12.
anything over 20, I think they had said anything over 26 would have been considered like really, really great given where we were at. My area hospital that had been managing all of my care for my previous 4 pregnancies has a really great NICU, but their NICU cannot accommodate babies younger than 32 weeks.
Oh.
So I was transferred to a different
from
hospital.
How far?
Well, and I'm sure you guys know this, similarly with California. In Boston, we don't really calculate in miles. It's minutes because Boston to Boston can take an hour.
Exactly.
I was about an hour away from home.
Okay.
On a good day.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And it was the month of December.
Oh no, that's your baby's
Ashleigh.
birthday. That's Christmas.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Who is stepping in at your house, Ashleigh? Who's stepping
My mother-in-law.
and stepping up?
My mother-in-law was there.
Wow.
From the moment my husband had to leave for work, which was like 7 o'clock in the morning, until he would get home at night, which was like 6:37 at night. She was cleaning my house. She was picking up my kids from school. She was doing everything. She really, and we kind of talked about the fact that she had just retired in September, and now it's December, and she's stepping into this role to be grandma of the year here. And I'm so thankful that she was able to do that because it really allowed me to not worry as much as I could about the things that were going on at home. Right. Obviously, there was always going to be some worry, and my kids were able to come in on the weekends and school vacation, but it really was. I would see them 2 days a week, and
oh my God,
just during visiting hours, and then other than that, it was just.
This might not be nice, not a nice question, but how's your husband? Is he a little, I want to say resentful? Is he just like, what is happening?
He is so thankful that everyone's okay. That, and I think at that point, and I've even I've been doing my own therapy from everything that's happened because I'm like, I need to be able to process this. We all were just existing in such a state of survival mode that nobody really had a chance to fully allow ourselves to feel what we were feeling. We were just so focused on, we need another day, we need another week, we need another month. And it was truly just, we made it work. He has frequently said to me that that will be the last journey, right? And I'm like,
Oh,
I think even if I wanted to, I wouldn't get cleared.
yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
Oh,
we
I
are
see.
done,
Yeah.
but I think like the universe has also made it so that we are done.
Okay.
Um,
Understood.
and I had been in the hospital for exactly a week when I started bleeding. Um, to which they said it was potentially a mild placental abruption. And we started steroids right away, just
Okay.
in case, because at that point, again, the doctors are like, you're going to deliver. We want to give this baby the best chance we can. And 2 weeks later, I was going home because something happened in that. Was it 2 weeks later? Yeah, that was December 13th, because now every Friday the 13th, we like have a little chat, me and the intended mom, and we're like, we're both good, right? Everybody's good.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I went home a couple days before New Year. So it was like just over 2 weeks later, the rupture had sealed and I was home. Um, totally miraculous. I don't understand it all, but because I had been leaking at that point for 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Um, no infections. Baby was fine. Fluid never dropped to super dangerous levels
That's the
other
brother.
than this.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's the brother.
Other than this like mild placental abruption, which then never caused any other issues,
So they confirmed
we
it
were
was a
fine.
mild placental eruption that was
They
confirmed?
could see like a tiny little bit of
Okay.
lifting,
Okay.
which
Because
then reattached itself.
yeah, because people would say maybe it's a,
Yeah,
sub hematoma, like a little
yeah,
thing from the
Hmm.
IVF. Okay.
yeah,
So wow, you were
yeah.
just getting boom, boom, boom.
It
Lord,
was literally just one thing after the another. Going back to the amnio, it was a false positive. So we went through all of that.
for nothing.
Baby's totally fine. He's
Yep.
healthy. Every
Oh,
chromosome is
wow.
perfectly matched. Um,
When you go
and
home,
here we are.
Ashleigh, are you on bed rest at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. But at least you're home. Like
At
Yeah.
kids
least
can
I'm
see you
home. At
daily.
that
Okay.
point, I was like, I don't care if all I can do is go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
That's my only getting out of bed. At
for
least
sure.
I'm home.
Right.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we
Wow.
that like it was about 3.5 weeks I was in the hospital, and
Felt like a
it was a
year.
lot. It
Mm-hmm.
felt like a year.
Right?
And at that point we were back and forth in and out of Boston for appointments. We were at
Oh,
my neighborhood hospital as well because they didn't want me in and out of Boston multiple times a week. They were like,
yeah.
we'll agree to once a week.
Okay.
But I also couldn't drive, so I was taking
Right.
Ubers
Yeah.
once a week into Boston. Thankfully, my agency paid for that,
Oh,
um, because also being on bed rest, I couldn't work. I couldn't do
when
anything.
when you say agency paid for it, hold on, back up just a little bit. Agency paid for the Uber rides.
Yes, the
Yeah?
surrogacy agency
Not
reimbursed
Not
for
your
all of the
intended
rides.
parents?
not your intended
Not
parents.
my intended parents. Yep.
Fantastic. Okay.
Our agency has what's called like an all-in protection plan,
Oh,
where it was like an all-inclusive sort of intended parents pay one flat rate and
Ah.
everything that happens is covered.
oh, nice.
So it did take a little negotiating for certain things, getting like lost wages. There was a little bit of back and forth because they paid for me to be
Oh.
out of work for 20 weeks. Um, and
What?
in the midst of all of this, I started my own private practice and never enrolled in the Massachusetts paid federal leave,
Okay.
um, because apparently small businesses have to do that, and I just didn't. So I wasn't eligible to get that while I was on bed rest.
Oh,
And
okay.
so the agency did pay me lost wages. They
Good.
reimbursed me for rides to medical appointments. I was able to hire a housekeeper to help with the housework. My mother-in-law was reimbursed for childcare.
Oh,
So they really did take care of us,
good. Glad to hear it.
after some
Negotiation.
negotiation, we'll say.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
how far do you get with him? How many weeks?
We were induced, I went in to be induced at 36.3 because plot twist, at 34 weeks, I had too much fluid.
Oh, Jesus. Lord help me.
Yeah.
I can't.
And it was just once. It was literally, we had an ultrasound on Monday at one hospital, we had an ultrasound on Friday at the other hospital, and my fluid doubled.
Go.
And we were like, what's happening here? And they were like, you don't have gestational diabetes, do you? And I said, no, I passed with flying colors. And they said, well, we
Yeah.
would like to just take your blood sugar just to be sure.
Okay.
When was the last time you ate? Like that can help us calculate where your number should be. And it was, my blood sugar was fine. But,
Okay.
once we got to 34 weeks, the doctors were kind of like, every week at this point is a blessing.
Yeah.
And we're going to go as far as we can. But really 36, 37 is probably where we're going to end up
Okay.
delivering. So we went in, actually on his parents' 5th wedding anniversary, we went to be induced, which was
Aw,
March
that's sweet.
17th.
sweet.
And our first induction failed.
Failed?
Oh, yeah. Because just perfectly in line with how the pregnancy went, so did induction.
How do you
Because
fail
I was,
induction?
You
oh,
don't start dilating. You don't start having contractions. That's
No,
how
I
you,
know, but it's
Yep.
just,
okay.
I
you know, they
know.
normally like
But like,
amp up the Pitocin and stuff.
Right?
and everyone had been saying 5th delivery, you're going to be in and out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
this is going to be,
For
and
sure.
he's going to be
Piece
a
of
small
cake.
baby. Like he's early. This is going to be fine. You'll barely even feel it.
Okay.
Not true. So we go in and we did cytotech again, like I mentioned with the other inductions. We started with that and that worked a little bit. Then we did a balloon to try to help my cervix also start to dilate. And we got to between the balloon that fell out on its own, started some Pitocin. It got to 6 centimeters. We were like, awesome. We went from a 0 to a 6.
That's great.
Fantastic. We're doing
Yeah.
great. So I get my epidural. I'm like, awesome. We're going to get things rolling.
Yeah.
And the doctor said, we're going to break your water. This should be easy. It's already been broken before. It'll be fine. So the doctor says, okay, I'm going to go grab, it's a teaching hospital. I'm going to go grab the residents. I'll get a couple of the extra nurses just in case like things could move quickly from there. We don't know. I want everyone to be ready. So doctor checks positioning. She's like, yep, he's head down. We're great. Golden. I'll go get everybody. I'll get what supplies I need. We'll break your water. He should be delivered before I'm off my shift tomorrow morning.
Oh.
She had been out of the room for maybe a minute and a half, and I'm completely numb at this point. I can't feel anything other than like some movement, some pressure. And I looked down at my stomach and I could see the fetal monitor just go like this.
Oh.
And then I looked over at the screen and I was like, that was a lot of movement. And his mom goes, he didn't.
He flipped.
And he flipped.
Oh, freaking
He had been head down,
Jesus Christ.
ready to go super low for weeks. And in that moment, he flipped. Having as many deliveries as I've had and being in this world, doctor walks in, we were like, I think we've got a problem. Don't do that before you double check. They bring in the ultrasound, and he definitely flipped. I have never seen a doctor look so defeated in a moment. She checked with ultrasound. She did an internal check and she just goes,
Oh.
and I said, so are we going to do an ECV or what? And she goes, do you feel up to that? And I said, this epidural is working. Let's go.
Yeah.
So we had the doctor, we had a resident, we might have had 2 nurses. There were a lot of people in the room. And so she flipped him and immediately broke my water. She said that should hold him in place. Got me a belly binder. So like there really wasn't much movement.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, we're just going to keep amping up the Pitocin and things should start moving pretty quickly from here. And then nothing happened. I was having contractions, but they were Pitocin induced contractions and not real ones. And now that my water's broken, we're not doing as many internal checks to make sure. And so, and I've had an epidural, so now I can't eat, I can't get up, I can't do anything. And that is the whole next day. They do 2 checks. I'm still stuck at a 6. She has to go home. Obviously, it's the next morning. Shift change happens. Next doctor comes on. I am maxed out on Pitocin. We're doing as much as we can at this point, and it's just not working.
And you have no amniotic fluid. You're working on that clock now because
Yep.
Jiminy crickets. Okay.
Yep. we finally hit the night shift comes on,
Oh, jeez.
and we have kind of a team huddle. Now, at this point, my water has been broken for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And that's usually the golden rule of like, you need to deliver now.
Now. Mhm.
And so the doctor had said, we've got a couple options.
Ooh.
One, we take you back for a C-section right now.
Mm.
Two,
Pass.
we take you back for a C-section in a couple hours.
Oh, geez.
Three, we stop everything, let you rest, let you eat, let you shower, and try again in the morning. And I said, how is that an option?
Yeah.
I thought we like had hit our
Threshold.
clock where like we're done. And the doctor said, well, we'll keep an eye on you. Should anything change, you're going to be on continuous fetal monitoring. Even if it's wireless, you will be on the monitor to make sure baby's okay. We will be taking your temperature every few hours to make sure you don't spike a fever, you're not having any issues. But we'll try again in the morning if that's what you want. And I said, I choose that option.
Yeah, I would have
And
too.
yeah, I was like, I had done 4 deliveries without having a C-section. I really didn't want a C-section. Obviously, knowing if that's what we needed, that's what we needed.
Right.
But I just said, like, if this is an option where we can wait, like, let's give it a little bit of time.
Are
Because
mom and dad on board with that option?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
They were really wonderful in letting me make most of the decisions. To which I always threw it back to them to say, like, we're a team, we're making this decision together.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly why that relationship works so well, is that nobody was ever like a sole decider. Obviously, if it really came down to it, it was my body. I was responsible for all the choices, but I wanted them to be a part of that. If they had said, we're really scared, I would have consented to a C-section. But they also felt very confident with the doctor saying that we could hold off for a little bit. Our original doctor was back on in the morning, and she had been the doctor that had been with us since I was admitted. So we felt better knowing that like she would be there in the morning and she was managing the care from there.
Wow.
And we took the night to rest. Everyone got as much sleep as we could, which honestly wasn't much, but it was something. And I, had them take the epidural out so I could eat, take a shower, move around. Because at that point I was like, maybe the fact that I'm just laying here in bed is not helping.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to move. And we started it again in the morning. And the doctor asked several times, do you want another epidural? I said, not yet. Every single time. It did take a while for progression to happen. We started everything back up about 9 in the morning, and we really didn't notice any changes until I want to say like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Wow. Like I was starting to contract, but it really wasn't doing much yet. Until it got to a point where it was doing a lot. And at that point, the doctor said, do you want an epidural? And I said, I don't think I could hold still for one. So we're just going to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Which is also why I think the universe is saying that I'm done, because I had never experienced an unmedicated birth.
Ooh,
and
mama.
People who choose that are honestly my heroes, because I can't do that again.
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
Woo!
Yeah.
Haven't even done one, and I don't
care to
I don't dream of doing one.
Had I like had the wherewithal to say even like an hour or so earlier, like, let's do this, I wouldn't have done it, but I did. And that was the thing.
So when is he born? So if 3 o'clock things start ramping up, what's the end?
6:44 p.m. he was born.
Oh, that was fast. From 3 to 6.
It was. It was honest, and it was one of the longer times I had been pushing in a surrogacy. Like I said, my first surrogacy was like 2 pushes. The second was only a few. This was probably like 20 minutes of pushing.
Okay.
I think because I could feel it all, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a few more breaks here.
Yeah.
And there's actually a video. My intended mom has a pretty great TikTok following, and with my permission, she posted our birth video where her husband was filming it behind my head. Nothing graphic is obviously being shown. And it's really his point of view of watching her.
Oh, that's sweet.
And the moment that the baby is out, he's crying, like we're all just a mess, especially after everything we've all been through.
Yes.
Like he came out and screamed, and the whole time we had been told he may have underdeveloped lungs. He might have breathing issues.
Right.
He had such low fluid. He's being born early. Like they were really, I know my intended parents were having very scary conversations that I was not a part of.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of being drilled in our heads the whole time, that like prepare for things to not look normal yet. Yeah. And it was totally normal. He came out screaming, and he was
That's awesome.
7 pounds 4 ounces at just under 37 weeks. Like this baby would have been ginormous had we waited.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Woo. And does your placenta, do you have any problems with the placenta this time, or does it come out like it's supposed to? You're good to go.
Came out like it was supposed to.
Good
we did
Lord.
send it away for testing. I did end up having a very mild infection.
Oh, okay.
We think because of just how long my water had been broken, but
Sure.
I didn't end up having any symptoms. Baby was fine. So it was,
great.
We wanted to know for sure, especially with the genetic test coming back.
Yeah.
Maybe was the trisomy 13 in the placenta cells, or, where we didn't know where any of this came from. And it just ended up being this weird false positive.
So scary.
So weird. And that is scary.
And then to have to go and have the amnio, and then to go and have all that bed rest in a hospital. Like it was just a chain of events that just from one little
kept
test.
coming.
Scary. Very scary. Well, thank God it had the outcome it did.
Yeah. And everybody's okay and safe and healthy.
Yeah.
And did you go home 24 hours after that, or did you guys stay for a little bit longer?
No, we stayed. So we started induction Monday morning. We all went home they went home Thursday night. I went home Friday.
Okay.
That's not horrible.
It's not horrible, especially because I delivered Wednesday. So they went home 24 hours after delivery. I did wait the full 48 that time.
Sure.
Just to be sure that everything was okay.
Fine, yeah.
And, it really, that one was for sure the right choice, because I just think I needed a little extra time emotionally, honestly, to just be like, I got to get it together before I go home to these kids and have my postpartum recovery.
Yeah.
That's a whole other beginning.
Let people bring you just sleep, let be quiet. Just do you.
Wow.
Look at that. That was woo.
That was quite an ending.
Yes. And that's why I say now we are retired. We are done. I really don't think even if I wanted to, any clinic would approve me, just even though none of this was my fault, or really any medical issues that were caused by anything. Like a pre 37 week delivery sometimes is, I guess, an exclusion.
Yeah. It just depends on the whole situation. I had a pre 37, and some clinics are like, no, and some clinics are like, okay, baby was healthy. That's fine. So it just depends on the clinics. But wow.
You have shared an awful lot, and please, and obviously I don't know if your intended mom's gonna see this podcast, but thank her for allowing you to share what you shared on her behalf. That I can't even imagine. And look at the outcome. You guys were so patient.
Baby
boy. She's got her little boys, and baby brother, and big brother's watching over all of them, because he made it all happen. I firmly
sure.
I do.
Yeah.
Wow. They kind of have this tradition of naming their children very significant names. So their older son is named after the doctor that saved her life. And their younger son is named after me, which she told me literally we had just gotten the results back from the NIPT, and they said, we're going to name him Asher because we can't think of any better name for the person who created our family than your name. And to find out I don't remember, I think they're Jewish, and I think it's in Hebrew, that name means like lucky one or something like that. So like that name just fits him. Yeah. And I feel really honored that he's carrying a name that honors me, but it's just this is one of those things where like everything happened, and it's this could be an episode or a whole season of Grey's Anatomy, honestly.
Yes,
for real,
100%. And I think all of that stuff that happened could have torn another pairing apart, but brought you all like where you're thick as thieves now, and you're intertwined for life.
For life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for taking all that.
I know, seriously. Thank you so much for taking so much time to talk with us.
And it's late where you are.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 9:30. It's not too bad here, but
wow.
Yeah, I know. Anytime people are like, "Oh, tell us about your journey," I'm like, "How long do you have?"
Yeah. But I think all three needed to be told for the significant. Yeah, it needed to be told. Yeah.
Wow. So thank you so much, because this was a beautiful and wild story.
Yes. And all happy, healthy babies. I'm so excited.
Yes. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah. Oh, whoopsie.
Well, amazing. Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you on Instagram and everything.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Take care. Yeah.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Wow.
Amazing.
Wild. It's beautiful.
There were some definitely higher powers that were working on those, especially that last one. Really seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And what courage. And thank you so much for sharing all of it. And I'm very, very humbled and so honored to be able to share it on the podcast.
I know. It's a beautiful story. It has a lot of ups and downs, but in the end it was beautiful. And what surrogacy is.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for sharing your story. If anybody would like to share their story or have questions, please feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Stop.Sit.Surrogate, or you can email us at Stop.Sit.Surrogate@gmail.com. And this has been another episode of Stop.Sit.Surrogate with Kennedy and Ellen. Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. Also, check out the link to our YouTube channel in the description. And be sure to also check out our children's book, My Mom Has Superpowers, sold on Amazon and Etsy.